Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of the vlog. Okay, what we are doing today is we've got some parts that I'm going to talk you through. So this is one of the rear shock absorbers that was on the car. As you can see, extremely maggoty. Bump stop here is broken. There's a dust cover as well that goes on here that's missing off it. Yeah, so the only good thing is actually the top mount, but we're not going to use that. We're going to replace the whole lot. So that is out the door. Okay, so we're replacing it with new shock. Obviously this new springs. This is what's known as an independent suspension in the rear. So you've got a shock on its own, and then the spring is separate to it, not like the front shock where the coil spring goes over it. That's known as a McPherson strut. This is an independent suspension, so independent being spring and shock are separate from each other. Okay, so here we have what we were looking at a while ago, which is the bump stop, and it does exactly what it says. When you go over a bump or you know, or a speed bump or whatever, it stops the shock from bottoming out. And that is, I don't know if you can kind of see in there, that's probably down to about there. That then is the dust cover, which protects the shaft of the shock. Okay, so it goes on like this and in through the little hole, covers it like so here, and like that. And the all important top mount, you must always change these when you're changing shocks. Even if they look good, it's ridiculous for the price of them not to change them, because they are a wearing part as well. They're made of rubber, and especially in the back of BMWs E36 and E46, these go all the time. Okay, so you put that together, and once that's all together, it looks like that. So that is one complete shock ready to go in. Other stuff that we have got today in this box here is a big roll of masking film, and what that is, it's just like a giant roll of cling film. We'll be able to cover the car with it, tape the car up, cover the gym here as well, because I'm doing the underbody coating, which is this, and this is called underbody scotch. It's almost like it's like a liquid tar, and it'll put a massive protective film under the car. It's black in colour, and it'll make the thing look like new. A couple of different heads here now, grinding heads. We've got one for the drill, which has just got a small head for getting into small tight areas. We've got a really big one here with really nice bound wire on it, which should last pretty well, with an M14 head, so I can put that onto my grinder, which is good. A couple of rolls of tape, gallon of thinners to clean out the scotch gun, brake hoses were there today, two short ones on the rear and two long ones on the front, and we have this stuff, brilliant product, Loctite Rust Remedy. This has been around with years, and it's the only one that actually works. And what this does is it neutralizes. So you brush this on to, like, look, if you've got rust, there's a hole going through, forget about it. But if you've got, you know, small bits of surface rust, which we have here, which I ground down yesterday, I was talking about spotting and stuff here. So you grind that down and you're back to metal, but you're left with small bit of pitting from the rust. Putting this on to neutralize it will ensure to kill off the rust, and it won't spread anymore. So we'll be dabbing that on, and we'll be showing you that later. What else have we got? I think that is pretty much it. So we're going to be cracking on with that now, and spend the day grinding and cleaning and getting ready for scotching. After a day of being underneath the car and covered in shit, we've got the grinder with that wire wheel I showed you earlier, and Caitlin's been going around there with the drill and the smaller one on that, getting into all the nooks and crannies. We've got a lot of exposed metal there, which will acid etch prime later on, but at the moment what's happening is I'm putting on the scotch, the underbody scotch, onto the car. So where is it? Come with me. So here it is in a bucket. Now scotch is the stuff I got is you put it on with a gun, and that's what I intended to do. And do you think I could find my scotch gun anywhere? No, no Scotch gun. So what I've done is I've poured it into a bucket, I've thinned it down a little bit, and I've got a short bristle masonry brush, and I'm brushing it on. I'm not too bothered that I have to brush it on. It's going on that bit lighter, which is okay. But I suppose the main thing that I'm kind of happy about not having the Scotch gun is I'm not destroying the gym, because for any of you that have done this before, you'll know that fucking stuff goes everywhere. The only thing is there are certain areas where I would have liked to put it on a bit heavier, but I just can't do that with the brush. But look, it's cleaner. Yeah, it's slow and laborious, but I'll still have it done tonight. So you know, it's not a huge deal. And look, it's one of those things. It's a labour of love, so it doesn't really matter about the time. So Kevin, if you have a quick look in under there, just doing in all under the wheel arches there, and that's only just the kind of first coat on it there, nice light coat just to get it to hold. But if you come over the other side, you'll see that in here there's very, very light kind of pitting, because there's a very thin layer of paint on them first day anyway in these areas. So this light kind of pitting here, I mean, that's very minute, you know, but so we're grinding that all back. Then we're coming along, then I'm checking the brake pipes. There's a lot of brake pipes that have been replaced in it, and there's a lot of them just with a lot of road dirt and build up on it as well. So we're just cleaning all that down. Well, I said labour of love, putting it on with a brush. Well, I fucking don't know about that. I'm going to borrow a gun tomorrow and put on the remainder of it. First coat is on all around. It's nice and tidy, it's good. It's a light coat that went on, but I can go a bit heavier now with the gun tomorrow. I'm not going to brush it on anymore. It's too slow, and there is certain areas that just will be able to penetrate better with the gun, and just get a nicer finish. Be able to go heavier in some areas and lighter in other areas. It's just a better job. So we're going to mask up properly here tomorrow. Going to borrow the gun, lash it on. I'll have it done in 40 minutes. So we'll show you what. Scotch gun. No more brushing. Okay, come with me. Right. So this is a kind of Scotch underbody coating. Nice thick black stuff. The stuff that I brushed on yesterday. First of all, to get it out of the can, I had to thin it down a bit, and when I was putting it on, I thinned it as well. And it just gets so freaking messy when you do thin it down. Okay, so with a Scotch gun, I've got a foil top on it. The can screws into the gun, and it's got a jagged edge there, so just pierce it like that, and get it lined up. I'm sure it threads alright. Give it a tighten. Yeah, it should be pretty sealed there now. As you can see, the nozzle on this is big. It's probably looks like 3/16 of an inch, if not more. Whereas spray gun that you paint a car with is normally kind of 1.6 or 1.4, 1.6, 1.8 mil around that. So getting ready to scotch now. Okay, guys, we'll let you have a look at this. Hopefully the lighting will you'll be able to see it with lighting. I'm gonna put on a mask because this stuff is strong. Okay, so as you can see, I've brushed a bit of this last night. I didn't go too mad in it, but a lot of the crevices here, can you see that, Kim? Yeah. A lot of the crevices here you can't really get at with the big brush, and in the corners. So this stuff is your underguard for those of you that aren't familiar with it, and it goes on a bit like tar. You can see the texture, the finish on it. It's very much like pebble dash, you know, pebble dashed house. Very, very similar to that. But there's it really gives a nice seal, and it's just going to keep any salts on the road and you know, keep the moisture out and just protect the shell, and hopefully the shell will you know, live a bit longer. So I'm going to crack on with this, and we'll do a little video then once I have the first coat of this done. Just finished the scotching, last coat gone on, so just going to show you what it looks like. And obviously got the stuff off the floor and tidied up a bit. So it's after drying. and that is what it looks like now. So a good coating of stuff on there. I don't know if I told you earlier about this wing. There was a tiny bit of rust on the arch on it, and when I went cutting it back with the wire brush, it went through it, and I'm just not no, for the sake of, you know, because it's so easy to change, I just wasn't even going to bother repairing it, so I threw it in the bin. Yeah, cool. You've probably seen these as we've been going, cut brake hoses. The reason why I cut the brake hoses, obviously I'm changing them, but the reason why I didn't open them ready to fit the other brake hoses is there's quite a lot of brake fluid still in the reservoir, and instead of trying to drain that and, you know, brake fluid being left in the line and potentially it dripping on the floor, I just cut the old ones and I plugged them with screws, just you know, just so it wouldn't drip. So just in case you're wondering why I was doing that, that is why. Okay, so that's that arch. That arch is pretty good as well. Let's get that pipe out of the way. You know, that's all nicely done up there as well, nice and thick. Around the back here, I did the back of the tank there, or the back of the wheel well there as well. You know, why not? I mean, like any overspray is quite, when it's getting painted, you know, if they paint over it, that's absolutely fine. At least it's coated anyway. Here now again, you can probably get a good look here of where the subframe sits and stuff, and in under there. The lines are all taped up. Obviously the copper brake pipes are there, and they're new. So the copper brake pipes, I want, when it goes for its NCT, I want the copper to be extremely visible, so that they know the brake pipes have been changed and that they're not, you know, covered over. So that's it. It's all good. Chassis legs are absolutely 100%. Arches there, everything is 100%. Very happy with the body. You know, I've done absolutely zero work to it. There's a tiny little repair that I'll have to do in the wheel well, just where obviously some water was sitting over the years and just rotted through, so I'm just going to cut that out and weld in a plate. But to be honest with you, I'm not going to do that. I'll get that done when it's getting painted. But coated everything up nicely, so absolutely spot on. Come to the centre here. We can have a look under here. Okay, so looking here now, you can see now, remember the side skirt goes on over here, so it doesn't really matter that I came to the edge. But again, that's all completely solid the whole way. Tiny little bit here that we're going to get a small piece welded in there. But that's literally the only thing in the whole car that will have to be done. The rest of it all the way to the front, solid. So in here in the arch as well, this one is all good as well, nicely coated there again. And as you can see, if you come up here, I brought it all the way up in under the chassis legs here. Now we are going to have this painted, and I probably will clean a lot of that back, but I did want to coat just where the subframe gets bolted here, and I did want to coat where the subframe was getting bolted, so just to make sure it's covered, you know, and any nooks and crannies there that are all covered. So that is it for now. Scotching is done. Really, next I suppose is fiddly bits. I want to get all this kind of stuff smartened up. I'm not actually going to get it ready for paint, but I'm just going to get the heads of all the little tiny bits of blistering. If you come over here, give them a second. As you can see, I've shown you this before. This tiny little spot in here. I just want to get that off. I want to treat it with the rust remedy. I want to get the acid etch primer on it and leave it for the body shop then to flatten down and prepare properly. They'll 2-pack prime it, flatten it down, 2-pack prime it, flatten that, and then put the paint on it. Panels, just like absolutely 100%. Small bit here, this is with the rust remedy on it. Now this is the kind of colour that it turns it a strange kind of shade of purple when it's on there. That's actually perfectly solid in behind it, so tiny bit of pitting there, but we'll be able to flatten that down. Put on the acid etch primer and let the body shop then do the refinishing then on it. Let's play around with the roof now tomorrow. There's kind of, when we were doing the mechanical takedown of it, these things are very flimsy and I'm not entirely happy with the way it's lining back up. So I'm going to play around with that for a bit tomorrow. I'm going to do the under the bonnet with the little specs, get it acid etch primed, start then tackling the interior, get the steering wheel off. That's new sport steering wheel is on the way. And just start doing a bit of tidying inside. I'm going to take off the door panels. I'm not entirely happy with those. Replace all the clips for the door panels inside, because those cars, especially the E36s, the clips that hold on the door cards are terrible. Realistically, if you take the door card off, you should replace the clips every time, because they never pop back on properly. And there's nothing worse than driving down the road with a squeaking door card and it creaking and making noise, or flapping when you open the door, which happens a lot. So all brand new, original, I'll get the clips from the dealer for these, just to make sure that the door card sits properly, because there's nothing worse when you're driving it. A convertible is that bit more noisy anyway inside in the car, just because you just don't have that solid structure of the roof. But the last thing you want is door cards rattling, and like I said, I've seen it before. You open the door and the door card starts swinging, so that's a no. So we're going to take all those off and get all those clips from, don't think I can get them from the dealer at the moment, but I will be getting them from the dealer when they're open. Or else I might be able to buy them online. I might be able to buy OE ones online somewhere. And then we're just waiting for parts. We're waiting for the subframe. When the subframe comes, with the diff and the arms in it, we'll be getting the wire brush on the drill and getting the wire brush on the grinder out, grinding it all back, cleaning it up, and giving it a nice coat of acid etch primer, and also giving it a coat of satin black. Then popping it up and putting in the suspension, plumbing everything up, plumbing up the brakes, putting on new brake hoses. There will be new discs and pads and stuff going on it. I just haven't got them yet. So, you know, we'll be able to get the car back rolling. And the same then with the front. We hopefully next week, I think the suppliers are open. Motor factors should have hopefully are having their suppliers open someday next week. So I have all brand new steering stuff coming for the front end of it. So we'll be able to put all the new stuff in. If not, I will be able to put in the old stuff just to get it back rolling again, to get it out. But the hard part is done. Look, the hardest part was getting it here, getting everything stripped down, getting it cleaned, getting that coat of scotch on it. That's so important. It's, you know, that's going to protect it for the remainder of its time on the road. So yeah, we're over the worst of it. So all good. Okay, guys, that is it for this episode of the vlog. And we'll see you on part 3. Okay, thanks for watching, and talk to you all soon.